Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 182. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Zanetsky. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Welcome and back.
Yes, we are an hour late today because I had the world's worst toothache last night, but
I was
here we
also
are.
a little late, although it turned out I was only about 9 minutes behind schedule. So
I was
curse.
I was in extreme blinding pain until about 6 o'clock in the morning when I finally gave up on just trying to go to sleep and went out and bought some Orajel.
Yeah, I don't have toothaches all that often, but I'm in the same camp as you where I refuse to get my wisdom teeth out. They're impacted, and once every year or so I get a couple of days where I basically can't eat.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Fair
I found that out while eating a cookie.
Oh no.
Yeah, so then it's like just sugar all over it. It's like extra bad.
Well, maybe if your body associates cookies with tooth pain, you won't eat as many cookies, and that'll probably be better for your health.
That would for my health.
Perfect.
There you go.
I'm going to use that as the thingy. Anyway, let me touch on a couple things before we start the episode officially. Head on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this particular website, you will find a couple levels of open-ended support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. Patreon.com/Carbitrage. Beyond that, if you're watching us on Twitch, thank you for reading our social media post. We are no longer on my personal Twitch. We are on our own. So twitch.tv/Carbitrage.
We're official now.
Yeah, it might take some time to get followers on this channel, but whatever. At least we have, I think Scott's watching right now. But
Hey, that's one.
Then moving on to beer, I actually have a beer I've been holding on to for quite a while because it's been too hot for it. This is a beer I got from our in-person patron, Tom, next door. It's a blueberry sour with, like, cocoa in it. So it's like a chocolate blueberry sour.
Is that Aaron that loves sour so much?
Aaron who?
Stokowski?
I can't remember what he brought. It might have been.
I think he likes sours. It's just like
I like sours.
it's just like a warhead with liquor in it. Like it's what it tastes like.
Great.
Oh, God,
I think a Fair State Roselle is pretty mild.
Yeah, Fair State Roselle is about like my limit on sours. Like I like fruity beers, I just don't like sours.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to visibly pucker when I drink a beer. But
so this is my issue with fruity beers. Is like I'll say like I like a fruity beer, and people are just like, oh, let me tell you about this sour. I'm like, no, I said a fruity beer, not a sour beer. Like, there's two different things. I like a mango kolsch, but I don't like a sour of any sort.
that's fairly
rather have another
close-minded.
hole in my head.
Yikes.
God, I hate them.
Apparently, because comparing that to a hole in one's head is pretty significant.
Yeah, it's really not my favorite thing. In either case, sours or a hole in my head.
I've never had a hole in my head, but I have had sours, and I can say, at least in my opinion, I like sours. So this so far is really good. It does have quite a bit of bite to it. I'm not really getting much of a chocolate effervescence from it, but
it probably tames it down a little bit, to be honest.
It's a decent, I'm going to call this a morning beer, even though it's not
it's
really
a morning beer. Yeah, okay. I know what you mean, though. Like, it's a brunch beer.
Yeah, yes.
Like, if the mojitos or whatever you have at brunch. Mimosas, thank you. The mimosas are too expensive. You just get that.
I'd black out if I had mojitos for lunch, so.
When I go to lunch or brunch, I do as like cheaply as possible, so I never get like the mimosas. Mm-hmm. I'm always just like, I'm gonna take the pancakes and the bacon and a coffee because I just had to wait in a line of like 45 Karens. I'm very irritated, and I need to be liquored up on top of this. Like, I just don't need that.
And the thing is,
because then I'm just gonna like open my mouth and start a fight.
It's insult to injury as well, because usually when you go through a line like that, you're the only person going for those particular items anyway. So you had to wait behind a bunch of people that weren't even interested in the stuff you were going to get.
Yeah. It's awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah, brunch sucks. I love brunch in concept, but in actuality, it totally sucks. It's like cheap coilovers.
Ooh.
That's what it is.
Nah.
Like, you're like...
It sounds great.
It sounds like a great... Like, fuck, I can look awesome, like, all the time. Like, this is a great idea.
Cheaper than shocks.
This is wonderful. And then you get them, and you're just like, ow!
The paid review, you've got like a back brace on. It was good.
10 out of 10.
Please
Like,
give me my money back.
Saying my chiropractor's got his arm around me with like a bench named after me in the lobby. Best coilovers ever.
A Pepsi Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so now that we're done touching on the beer and the pleasantries, let's move right into topics. And
Wait, did we talk about Patreon?
we did.
All right, cool. Sorry.
We'll move right into topics. The first one being one of mine, actually. And I was leaving work about a week and a half ago, and a coworker of mine, the idiot, bought a CVT Impreza, like a 2019. I told him to buy a Corolla hatch manual. He didn't. So the reason I bring that up is this thing has the most aftermarket-looking, not in a good way, stock wheels of anything in my...
Wait, did you get Impreza Sport, or did you get just a normal Impreza?
I don't know. Probably a Sport.
Well, if they're sports, they're a little bit bigger. I don't know. Do you have the black highlights on them?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, it's a Sport. Yeah, they look like they're made by Vox.
Yeah, they're really, really terrible looking wheels, and that actually prompted me to get into the podcast.
You could literally look at any one of these wheels and they all look like garbage.
These aren't it. They're even worse than this. But this prompted me to put in the topic of what vehicle has the most aftermarket-y looking stock wheels that you can think of. Yeah, it's these.
Is this for better or for worse? Or
It doesn't matter. I'm leaning for worse in mine usually, but it doesn't have to be.
Well, for me, I believe it's the 2011 Subaru Outback, actually, is the worst wheel I've ever seen in my life. It's not aftermarket or anything. It's just awful.
So we have two Subarus in a row now.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about how something looks. You're going to have a lot of Subarus if we're complaining about stuff.
So here's the Impreza wheel that I was talking about first. These actually don't look that bad in this photo, but they are terrible.
Oh, that is it right there.
They look really bad. So what do you want? 2011?
2011 Subaru Outback. It's going to be the 6-spoke wheel.
Oh, is it like that faux 3-spoke split thing?
It's the one where there's 6 spokes and 3 of the spokes are a different width than the other 3.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I believe it's the 2011.
Those wheels, I don't know if they look aftermarket necessarily, but they look terrible.
Well, I was just saying those are the worst looking wheels I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now.
What the heck, man? I know the wheel you're talking about, too, and I'm sure most of our listeners do, but yeah, it's like the big 3-spoke with the little 3-spoke eccentric over top of it.
Yeah, maybe it was the 2012.
It was like the first year. Was there a year before that?
Not of that body style. I'm pretty sure. 2010 was the last good Outback.
Huh.
Oh, no, 2010 was the first year of that.
All right, so that must have been it, because I remember when those first came out, that I'm like, wow, those wheels are terrible.
Like, the internet's, like, scrubbed pictures of this.
Seriously,
away.
nobody wants to look at that.
Like, you literally cannot find a photo of them on the internet.
Every single one when they came out had those godforsaken wheels.
Oh, man, I found one. If you look up LP Adventure Kit Outback 2010-2014, then you'll see
Adventure.
Lift kit. Right there.
Oh, man. Oh, those are terrible.
That's the worst wheel I've ever
Copy
seen.
image location.
The worst wheel I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a worse wheel. Ah, gross.
That's really, really awful. Those are just
every wheel
dreadful.
Every single wheel is better than that. Even the Chevy Cavalier Sealies with the hubcaps that say the wheel size on the hubcap.
Oh God, I'm not even aware of that. Thank goodness.
I think it says like 15 by 5 or something.
Oh no!
It's a terrible.
Oh,
size.
bragging about how poor you are.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to bring up is the BMW Z3 6-cylinder wheel. So the 97-98 Z3 2.8 wheel. And it's also the early X5 17-inch wheel. BMW Z3. But they're essentially just like a bland, melty, shapeless 5-spoke. And it looks like a Moda wheel from Tire Rack that somebody bought for winter duty in 1998. But look at this. It's a stock BMW wheel. And it's just like the worst melty trash. This is actually a Photoshop, I think, but trust me, the real ones look exactly like this.
They look like those awful Borbets you always see. Like,
yeah, I mean, they pretty much are.
Like some boomer like took a photo of it, or like some boomer made a post on Craigslist that says Borbet wheels for sale.
Yeah.
And then they have a link to their Imgur account, and then you click on it and you see that gross 5-spoke. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was trying to copy a Bring a Trailer image location, and it was having issues.
What was the name of those metric wheels that they put on the Testarossa?
They're just called TRXs, I think.
Yeah, TRXs. Yeah, those wheels they kind of look like just like a generic 5-spoke aftermarket wheel. But
The biggest issue I have with most TRX wheels is not only did they usually not look great, but also like if you tried to buy a modern tire compound, even in the day, you couldn't do it.
yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean they were objectively terrible.
Another one I want to touch on is actually for the better. It's the 2001 BMW 530i Sport Package wheel. So they were BBS 2-piece.
I know what you're talking about because I actually wrote one of these for BAT.
Yeah, it's an awesome car, by the way, too. If you ever are in the market and you can find a clean one, buy a 2001 530i 5-speed because it is awesome. I should be looking at images, not... there we go. Yeah. So these are just lovely. If you ever get one out of a northern climate, you're going to have serious problems with corrosion. But I think those, like, if that had a BBS center cab, aftermarket wheel.
I think they are like BBS, like type 1.
They're stamped BBS all over. I'm just saying that they are factory wheels.
I can't remember what style they are. It's like type like 110 or something, 105.
Well, I can tell you for sure they are BMW style 42. But
that's what it is. Thank you.
RC, I don't know. Even the RC090A, the Style 5, that one, it doesn't look that aftermarket to me. It just looks cheap.
Have you ever wanted a car that's got a factory set of Campanolo wheels?
I don't think I've seen that, no.
Type in the 1979 Mazda RX-7. I love these wheels. They look very similar to one of my favorite aftermarket wheels.
These?
Yeah, one that kind of looks like a fan clutch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a really tiny, crappy version of the Pantera wheels.
Yeah, that's Campanolo.
Campagnolo?
Yeah, whatever. Looks like that or a Mugen CF48 or something along those lines. Like, that's a very cool looking wheel.
Scott says the base Tesla Model Y wheels look like aftermarket wheels.
We could also say the Model 3 wheel, which is one of the best factory wheels I've ever seen. The one that's
the one without the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best looking factory wheels.
That's true. That does look like BBS as well.
I love that wheel.
I'm trying to find a photo of a Model Y stopped with the base wheels because they look so terrible.
The Model Y as a whole. It just looks like a puke.
Yeah, that
gross.
Wheel. I don't know if that looks... I mean, are there really aftermarkets that make wheels that look that bad? I don't know.
There's some really, really terrible Japanese wheels that look kind of like that. Yeah. There's some really bad wheels out there.
I'm blanking. There was a 1992 or a 1994 Lexus ES300 that had like BBS wheels on it from the factory.
Well, you could look up the Mercury Grand Marquis from like the 90s.
Oh, yeah, same
with
thing.
The mesh wheel.
It's just any Japanese car that's kind of bubbly that has a mesh wheel on it. It's usually way too small, and it just doesn't fit the style very well.
I love the wheel, but if you put that wheel on like a Cressida, it looks great. If you put that wheel on like a obviously you can't put it on a Miata. But
Well, not with that attitude.
That's true. But I mean, like, if you put that onto like, I don't know, like a RX-7, it'd look terrible. Like a FD. Obviously you wouldn't, but like I'm just trying to think of a bubbly a Celica. A Celica's a perfect example of a car that looked terrible with a mesh wheel.
That would be another interesting point. Like, what's like a really ho-hum, boring stock wheel that looks way better on like the smaller sibling car?
That's true. Yeah. I can just tell you right now, the Integra Fat 5 on a Del Sol looks great.
That just looks stock to me. Yeah.
Well, because they had a 14-inch Fat 5, a mini Fat 5 on the Del Sol VTEC.
Okay.
And so you can get the one that's like an inch larger. And obviously you'd have to swap hubs and everything, but I mean, you could. It's not that hard. People do that for larger brakes anyway. Yeah. But if you put, Integra Fat 5 looks great on a Del Sol.
I think the 95 to 01 BMW 7 Series 16-inch wheel looks pretty good on any non-7 Series BMW. They're really common on the 89 to 95 5 Series. People re-drill them and put them on E30s all the time. They're cheap, good.
And then another great example of a ho-hum wheel that looks great on other things, the EM1 Civic Si wheel.
What did that come with?
It's like a fat 7-spoke, really high offset. Huh. It looks amazing on like EGs and EFs. If you just look that up, look up 2000 Civic Si, and you'll see the wheel I'm talking about. It's ho-hum as hell on a factory. On that car, but as soon as you put that on an older body style Civic, it
something
looks
smaller.
Great.
Yeah, that would be. I'll bring it up in chat here just so people can see it.
Yeah, if you put it on a lower profile tire, like that looks great. Yeah, those look awesome on EGs and EFs.
I still like the M1.
The M1's a great car. I would highly recommend buying one like right now.
No, you'd recommend buying one like 5 years ago.
I would still recommend buying one right now.
I don't think you can get one for a reasonable price right now. Otherwise,
You can actually, the way you buy a car, you totally can get one for $5,000.
Fair.
Like, if you get one that's like got an accidents history, like you can get a really, really solid car. And I think if there's anybody on earth that can own a Civic Si, it'd probably be you, because you just park it in here with like your BMW and your Ferrari.
Never goes outside.
Never goes outside. Like St. Paul does not know that car exists. Like, yeah,
I take it home
fine.
one night before a car show and it vanishes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would never do that. 100% would never do that. I would drive, like, oh, this car show starts at 7 a.m. I better leave my house at 5. Like,
Pretty much.
I need to go get my car from Chanhassen and
I
drive
do
to
that kind of
Stillwater.
stuff all the time. 'Cause there's
Yeah.
a lot of cars I just either can't or won't park at my house. But
Yeah, no, I would 100% park your Ferrari with the keys in it before I park that Civic Si anywhere within 10 minutes of your house.
well, it's a good thing I probably won't buy a Honda. But
And I want to give you one last wheel. We've talked about it before.
okay,
The 280ZX swastika wheel.
we've actually covered that before somehow.
Yes, that is one of my favorite wheels ever. It looks amazing, and it looks like a totally weird aftermarket wheel.
This was, I'll have you know, already in the search history
Perfect.
of the stream computer.
I love that wheel. Like, that's just one of my favorite wheels ever.
Is it officially called the swastika?
That's the nickname of it.
Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like that would be maybe not a great thing to call a wheel.
It's not like it's like when you say like an E30 basket weave.
Sure, okay.
Like, people just know.
I gotcha.
Like,
Corvette saw blade.
yes, like it isn't technically the name. It's
Okay.
technically called like the basket weave is technically a cross spoke.
Style 5.
Style 5 cross spoke, yeah. But like, you just say basket weave and people know what you're talking about. If you say,
bro, I got a set of weaves.
I think if I ever did a 280ZX and Brancher, I would actually have to put parentheses swastikas, but
Then they'd be like, Ryan, like, trust me,
that's
people will know.
what they're called. Like, that's the actual name.
I'm not making this up. That is literally what people call them. Don't die.
Sorry, my tongue is still like half numb
Ugh.
from my Origin.
Oh, Jesus. Have
Like-
fun with your topical anesthetic.
I can taste everything. It's just half of my tongue. I can't move very well.
Can you taste the rainbow?
Yes, I can. So, I've got great news, everyone. If you can open up the link that I provided,
Sure.
I'll wait.
May as well start. We still have an audio listening thing.
There we go.
Whatever.
What is that picture of?
That is the picture of the, I don't even know what generation, but the new Z car.
Of the 400Z, and what is that you are looking at?
That is a shift knob attached to a boot, attached to a center console.
It's gonna be a manual.
Good.
Yeah, no, I love that Nissan had a press release, and that was the one photo that they gave us.
It reminds me of Top Gear when they covered the first-gen Panamera. Like, do you want to see it? And they showed the marketing material, and it was all just, like, super dimly lit black areas, highlighting, like, the front headlight area. They never showed the back. 'Cause it's so
It looks
ugly.
so bad, yeah.
So I hope the rest of the interior looks okay.
I don't care. It has a manual now.
Pretty much. I mean, add this to the ever-dwindling list of
Well,
cars.
I think. All right, so this is the clever thing that I put a manual in it for. That is the only reason you would buy that car and not a GTR.
Or, like, any other competitor vehicle, like a Z4 or a Supra.
Yeah.
You're going to go buy a 400Z because it's got a manual.
Yes, it
and if
does.
it's anything like the CD009, which it probably is, it's a really good
I hope
transmission,
it's
too.
just a CD009. Like,
It would be fine.
they have no reason to fuck with that transmission at all. Like, don't change it.
It's still a VQ, so it's probably still a CD009.
Like, that. There's no reason to try to make it better. It's already as good as it will be.
I
Please.
can't think of any other strong 6-speed that costs less than that thing secondhand either.
Yeah, like, that is the best transmission in the world, and please make more of them so they continue to be cheap. I want that to be I want that to be the 1,000 horsepower LS transmission. Like,
I mean, I don't know if you could push 1,000 horse through them, but
You
they're
can.
really strong.
actually. Fuck. Like, so, like, with just when I've been reading, someone put a 2J into my Cresta for a long time until I realized that they were prohibitively expensive and there's too much screwing around that I have to do. And I can just put a V8 in it and just call it a day. But I was looking at doing a CD009 because the R129s are just like unbelievably expensive. And like, the R129 is a better transmission, but the CD009 can still get pretty darn near 1,000 horsepower before it has issues.
I don't think that the Mark IV Super Trans is anywhere near as good as the CD009. That's a Getrag 420.
Yeah, it's a great transmission.
It's fine, but it's not stronger than a CD009.
But I mean, like, you know how Supra people are.
It's a fine transmission.
Supra people are, they're like, the Supra can just do it. If you put in another part, you're probably going to make it worse. And then it took them like 20 years to catch up to the solid rear end cars, so.
Wow, shots fired.
How correct they were. But anyway, I'm just very happy to see that there will be a manual in the new Z, and they're not just going to ruin it right off the bat.
I assume this will have like the Red Sport 3-liter twin turbo in it, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
And you know what else makes this better? This is officially a better vehicle than a BMW Supra.
Well, yeah, mainly because the Supra does not yet have the manual transmission, which they confirmed is coming.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Also, I mean, if you're
It's
going,
already been federalized in the Z4.
yeah, but I just don't believe it because
Okay.
they're doing everything they can to make me not like that car.
That's fair.
Like I wanted to like that car until I got into it and I found out it only had 2 seats.
Here's a question for you. Is this a 2+2 or is this a 2-seater?
It's a 2-seater.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
If it was a 2+2, it would definitely be better.
Mm-hmm.
If this was a 2+2, I'd call it the Nissan Supra. Because the BMW Supra is not a Supra.
This is going to break your heart, Ryan, but I'm fairly convinced that Nissan does not hold the trademark to the word Supra.
No, but you can spell it with like an umlaut or something.
SOOPRAH,
Yeah.
Supra?
Supra. Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
Nissan, please do that. Make a 2+2 version of the 400Z and call it the Supra.
Yeah, like I'll be fine. I won't be heartbroken. I'll
I don't see
still call
any
it the
problem
Supra.
with this. It's fine.
If that's a 2+2, I'll call it a Supra because the Supra is not a Supra. It's a wonderful, wonderful little car, but it is not what they call it.
It's a good car, and it is a Supra.
Yes,
It's not a Toyota, but
it's
it
not
is a
a
Supra.
It's not a Supra or a Toyota. It's a
It's a BM Dupra.
Yeah, it's a BM Dupra. That's a good way to call it. A BM Dupra.
Come on, somebody's got to take the script of the Supra text and do BM Dupra.
BM Dupra.
I can get behind that.
But actually, you need to do BM. The BM you have to do in like the M font with like the little red and blue lines, and then the DUPRA.
Oh man, how Persian did this badge just become?
The Dupra has to be in like Supra font,
Script,
like the
yeah.
the like scribbly script.
The crayon script where it's got the little
Oh
All right.
god, that'd be gross. Let's move
Not
on.
talking
I don't want to
about
talk
the
about
BM
this anymore.
Dupra anymore. I want to talk about. We actually kind of brought this up in episode 179. Best automotive tuner names, and it was too much to cover at that time, so we've had a little bit of time to think it out.
Yes.
And I sat here for 10 or 15 minutes today. I'm just like, all right, tuners. So I started thinking about makes, and then I started thinking about all the parts I liked, especially back in the day. Oh, I just thought of another one. But there's so many good ones. Most of them are not recently established, but some of them are. So I don't know. I'll set it off with Brabus.
Brabus is a great name, and I love that it's actually his last name.
I like the
Like,
logo is good.
Louis
Like,
Brabus is his name. Like, that's a great name.
and that operation is serious. Like,
Oh, yeah. Brabus is also from one of my favorite eras. Actually, I would probably say my favorite post-war era of cars, which is the cocaine-fueled, totally ridiculous
personal luxury machine.
personal luxury machines of the 80s. Yeah, so I'm also going to give you one of my favorite ones, the Koenig Special, which is like synonymous with everything that I love about the 80s. So
It has some personality and character to it. There's
Yes.
a lot of automotive tuner names that I don't find offensive, but I'm not gonna when was the last time you were chatting with friends and you had your car flash? You're like, oh, what'd you get it flashed by? I'm like, APR. I'm like, wow, that sounds boring.
yeah, I think any name that's
Don't
just
they
3
make
letters.
bolts?
But if you say like Koenig Specials, it's a fun name to say.
Yeah.
And people immediately think of just like Phil Collins stumbling out of a Lamborghini Urraco with a shiny blue suit with a mullet and a bald spot and like a briefcase full of cocaine.
Their hearing gets some reverb in it for a couple of seconds. I remember.
I love it. Like, that's everything I love in my life.
I hate Phil Collins, and I still understand.
Like, I really just want a Koenig Special car. And my favorite part about the Koenig Special is you can still buy the body kits piece by piece. They don't make cars anymore, but you can buy the body kits. So what I want to do is I want to get a really clapped out 560 SEC, LS swap it, 4L80E swap it, because I don't even care. I don't care, Eric. I just want to have a cocaine mobile that's reliable.
No.
Fine, a CD009. I don't care.
There you go.
And then want to put a big Koenig Specials body kit on it.
With like the 13 by 20 inch wheels or whatever the hell.
With those,
yeah.
with those ridiculous Japanese tires I told you about.
Yep.
Yes, I want that. So.
All right, fine.
I could actually just do my entire list just 80s tuners.
You could. I'm looking through it as I'm reading mine. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Most of these are actually Japanese. So.
There's some good ones in there. My next one is Hartge. Hartge.
Yeah, Hartge.
Try to say that name and not just be angry, but that tuner has been around. It's a BMW tuner primarily, and they've been around for probably 40 years. And they got famous for doing just the most bananas stuff. For like, oh, you introduced a 3.4 liter inline six? Why don't you send me one of your smallest cars? I want to see what happens. And they've been doing that forever. Like, they've always been taking like they've been taking M5 engines and stuffing them in like 3 Series since the dawn of time.
I think you could actually, you could just go to like 1000scc.com and just look at the tuner names, any one of those. So I'm actually going to leave out all my 80s cars.
Oh, come on. Because
I could say ABC exclusive, I could say Subaru, I could say all of the great ones that are like that. They're just like, they just did like, Subaru made a Gullwing 560 SEC with slats that went all the way across the entire front end and all the way across the back end with Testarossa strakes. It's just made of cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, the mod sounds interesting, but
Subaru
is the name of a pizza company.
That's the thing, is like, if that pizza company didn't exist, that'd be a great name.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
So I'm gonna say my first one that I actually wrote down, Gensuki House.
Come again?
Gensuki House. It's only 4 characters.
Gensuki House.
Yeah.
That's only 4 syllables, yeah.
Gensuki, 4 characters, house. And they tune custom mopeds. If you actually look them up on Google real quick, just type in...
Hold on, let me copy it and paste it into my browser. Because there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to type that.
This is super easy for me to like type, because I just like any Japanese name, I just know it's like 5 characters in Japanese, and it's super easy to do. So yeah, if you just go on Google and just look up there and go to images. They do Bosozoku mopeds.
Oh, okay.
So,
I don't see any Bosozoku yet, but...
Oh, you'll see them. Well, say
modded, certainly. They seem pretty sedate, honestly.
That shouldn't be like that.
There's a teaser, maybe.
Yeah. All right, go to their website then, because they make like 3 foot tall.
Make this easier for me.
They make 3 foot tall fairings for like Yamaha jogs, and they make custom like front end pieces.
So they let you turn your brand new moped or scooter into a 1970s Honda full size?
Kinda. Except it's still small.
Gigantic fairings.
Gigantic fairings, yes. It's super tall. Really crazy. Like
the fact that this is on a 2020 website and it looks like it's from 1978.
They did that on purpose. Yes.
I'm sure.
But they have really cool stuff. I love Gensuki House. I actually once I have all my stuff together moving in, I plan on actually probably next year. I think I'm gonna buy a moped that I'm gonna do a Gensuki build on. I mean, like I think it'd just be super cool to have like import a Yamaha jog, or even just buy a Yamaha jog if I can even find one.
I just like the name. I don't think I'd want one, but
get the banana seat and the 3 foot fairing and the headlight that's like stuck up in the air, and then put the Minarelli like 75cc kit that Gensuki House sells, and then just have it be super fast and super stupid, and I'd love it. It'd be perfect.
I mean, if it's your style, that's not my thing
It
at all.
is entirely my style. I can
Another
bring it to your
thing, you're
house
going to
and
want to
annoy
make
you.
sure you lock up, because in St. Paul,
Oh yeah,
fancy scooters get stolen.
Yeah, Hip's scooter's been stolen like twice.
My friend Alex Henderson lost at least a couple of them too.
I think I put it downstairs in the basement. They're pretty light.
Probably smart.
Yeah.
My next one, Polestar. Not as interesting now that it's part of Volvo, but it used to be a separate tuner, famous for cranking the boost screw all the way in on all of the Volvos. And it's not only a great name, but they came up with a great color, which is that light blue. Which,
Yes.
Again, now you can buy Volvos in, so it's less interesting.
Now everything's like that color. But it's,
Polestar,
Polestar it's like AMG. Like AMG before they were part of Mercedes, like were very, very cool. They became part of Mercedes in the 90s. They made some cool stuff for a while. They made cool stuff for a while.
I mean, I don't like the new Polestar Volvos, but it's not like a Polestar tuned V70R.
No, that's the thing is like the AMG Hammer was when AMG was separate from Mercedes, and they could just like make it, and it didn't have to like comply to like any sort of safety regulations. But now that it's like part of Mercedes, they're like, okay.
Oh, this has to be carb compliant?
Let's just put the biggest engine we can into the smallest car we can, which is great.
That's a hard cut.
Don't get me wrong, but it's not as exciting. It's not like M117 into a 300E. Like that's
especially a 4-cam M117.
That's
into a
way
300E.
cooler. Yeah, making a 4-cam set of heads for a V8, very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I would love a set of those heads, but obviously
they
not
also
happening.
they make their cars completely unaffordable.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a Conjo Tribe shop that is called Car Make Across.
We picked very different names.
I love my names. They're so dumb. I just love.
We've talked about even what was it wasn't a Jimny, it was something else, but there was a company that modified one that just had like the most ridiculous names.
Wald International.
No, it was like a really boxy Isuzu or Daihatsu or something like that, and it was like modified.
There's a lot of names that are like that, but Car Make Across, they make Conjo. They got famous doing Conjo racers, which are like Honda Civics at like 200 horsepower, completely stripped out, and they were street raced in the middle of like Osaka during like rush hour and like zip through traffic. Yeah, and so
Car Make Across.
Yeah, so Car Make Across is like up there. If you just type in like Car Make Across EF Civic, like you'll see what they do. They've got Car Make Across, and then my next one have very similar but very unique styles to their cars, where they'll make these cars as street racers that look like they're cup cars almost, where they'll put in like Lexan windows and like roll cages and like super stiff suspension. Turns out after
Street legal stuff. You know.
What's the thing? Once they quit highway racing, they started going out on racetracks. They started like resetting lap times like across Japan, along with my next company, where it's just like if you just look them up, like they just like they'll go to a racetrack with like 8 cars, and then they'll just like reset each lap will reset the lap time for like a front wheel drive car, and just completely blow away their competition, and then just move on to the next city. And it'll just like go through Japan, going to every single little racetrack doing that. So that's I think is really cool about them.
That's kind of cool.
Were you able to find any of their cars?
I'm not Googling every one of them.
Okay, that's fair.
It takes too long. Unless you give me links, I guess.
I guess I can do that for. I'll do that for CarCraft. Boom, my next one. But we'll talk about yours first.
Fair enough. Next one, terrible tuning company. I don't know if I should recommend you get any of their stuff, but Unitronic. I think it's a great name. They have a pretty great logo too.
They have a great logo, yeah.
It's an Audi predominantly tuner that does a lot of flash tuning, not even a lot of hard parts. But again, like the first time I saw that name on a shop locally here, I'm like, I thought more of the shop, honestly, because it was such a good name, and it just had this like stench of high end to it. So I was really bummed to learn that it's not good.
It sounds really bougie.
It does sound bougie.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
But it's also really not old school. So this is probably the most modern avant-garde name I have on here. They don't tune anything that I like, and again, their tunes are kind of crap, but they're a great name.
Tunes are kind of crap.
Their tunes are kind of crap. Don't do that.
It's a bit shit.
The product's a bit shit. Don't buy Unitronic. But if somebody good were to buy that name, I would feel better about that. So if you were in a position and have some good tunes, I highly recommend you make Unitronic an offer. And then tell them that their tunes are a bit shit.
So the one I'm going to say now is the company is better known in the United States as Osaka JDM,
Okay.
but their real name is Carcraft Boone, which I think is the best name for a tuning company ever.
I just think of Carcraft Summer Nationals, and then like
they have to take each word individually, like Carcraft Boone, like what each word means. Totally made. So it's a Japanese tuning company.
okay, I kind of figured.
Their only English speaker is a Frenchman, and no, I know
That's
this
a
because
yikes.
I've bought parts from them. I had an issue and to talk to somebody on the phone. It was a French dude translating English, a second language, to his other second language, Japanese. So
Oh, no.
everything got lost in translation.
Oh no.
Honestly, they're super cool. When I bought my spoiler from them for my Civic, it came cracked because Nengun fucked up. But
Il est cassé.
yeah, but they actually sent me a second one. They sent me a T-shirt. They sent me a calendar. They all autographed the calendar and everything. They sent me a bunch of stickers.
I like these wheels.
It's super cool. Yeah, so that's actually their special made work wheel. It's called the C1 Loop 5.
Japanese just have such a hard-on for adding unnecessary syllables to everything.
There's a reason for that name. So the C1 loop is the highway loop that they would race on.
Okay.
And 5 is because 5 spokes.
Alright.
It makes sense. But anyway, so if you notice, this car's got a dent in the front end of it.
Yes, it does.
So that happened soon after they went legit and started going to like actual track days. They were racing at, I think it was Tsukuba circuit, because that was close by. I can't remember exactly which circuit. But
Sakawa's cool.
yeah, but they were racing on the track, and there's an RX-7 that, like, they were faster than, but the RX-7 would pull away from them in straightaways, and they just, like, could not take the corners as fast as them. And so eventually the RX-7, they were like, just to get them out of the way, they just didn't brake fast enough.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
The suspension was all unloaded, and they just pushed him into the dirt.
Nonchalant whistling.
So anyway, that's their trophy. That's been there for like 25 years.
It does say Historics Japan on the front of it, which is kind of
Yeah,
hilarious.
so they actually, this is the company that took a lot of the Conjo racers and made them go legit.
Okay.
And there's this, Historics race, which is where the RX-7 got rear-ended.
I kind of figured they badged the dent
Yeah.
with that if it had some relation to it.
But the Historics race is like a
Is that sunshine outside?
What?
I think that's fake news. Today isn't allowed to have sunshine.
That's fake.
Okay.
But the Japanese Historics race is a race where they have like vintage street cars, like street racers and stuff, race on a track. And it's not like time attack, it's actual racing. So it's like RMMR at Monterey Car Week, where they'll have like Ferrari 250 GTOs and stuff racing against like GT40s.
Sure.
Well, and they'll do that, and they have like different classes and stuff. So like, yeah, there's some people that race like Bugattis and stuff, but they also have like vintage Japanese era racers. So they'll have like RX3s and RX7s and like the Carcraft Boone Civic and stuff.
Sure.
But this company is known for really just like blowing away the competition for cornering ability. They have 200 horsepower. That is
Pretty good.
which is good for like a 1,800-pound Civic. But the lap times they pull are a lot closer to like fully built NSX lap times.
I believe it.
Like they're like way faster.
Especially
than
if
have-
they don't brake in time for
yeah.
those NSXs.
or some of these cars, yeah. Like they're
Can you imagine being a scrutineer that has like a penalty called out for this team? Like, we didn't brake fast enough.
I'm sorry, like
That's been your excuse since 1983.
yeah,
Oh,
well, I'm sorry. Like a French driver.
I didn't brake fast. Yeah. Désolé. Like, I talk to the Frenchman.
So what's another good one for you?
As much as it's a crap company, Roush.
That's a great name.
Because if you said, I've got a Roush-tuned car, like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Actually, you know what? With that, I'm going to give you my one American company I'm going to come up with.
All right.
Iski Cams.
Whiskey's cool.
Their real name is Iskadarian Cams.
I liked it better before I knew that.
I love that. That's a great name.
There is actually a company, I'll just completely tangent this in real quick, but it's called Cat Cams. It's actually apparently a really expensive high-end camshaft manufacturer, which sucks.
Oh, actually,
Because I want their cams for my 2002, but Cat
I've
cams.
heard of that company, I think. Also, there's a headlight company called Cats with a Z in Japan.
Hopefully it's not like Mad Cats.
No, it's just called Cats, and they were the first company to do aftermarket HID kits.
That's
back
pretty
in the,
cool.
like
Early 90s, probably?
yeah, like super early 90s, like right after HIDs like first were introduced.
God.
Yeah.
Remember the first time you saw a xenon headlamp turn on? You're like, whoa.
Whoa. Like it then like slowly lights up.
It's super bright, and then it gets dim, and then it slowly lights up again. Like, what the hell just happened?
That is like the coolest thing in the world. Yeah.
In your W140S class, which I think had them in 91 or 92 is when that car came out. But they were like an original option thing. My next one I'll throw in real quick, Eurodyne.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that company.
Old. I don't even know if they're still around anymore, but really popular in like the heyday of forced induction in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
They were big into Porsche and Mercedes and BMW and stuff. So again, a great name. The company doesn't have any memorable product, but it doesn't matter. Because if you say, I've got a 300E, or you say, I've got a 92 300E Eurodyne turbo, you guarantee you're going to stop and stare at the Eurodyne car.
Yes.
Because, like, was that turbocharged in 92? Yes, it
Probably.
was.
It was very reliable.
It's blow-through CIS, so what do you think? The answer is yes. So anyway.
Nobody has done that since.
No, because they invented EFI a long time
I
ago.
was going to say, when did they, like 1986, I think was the last time where that was like a reasonable idea, is a blow-through CIS EFI
Most
system.
tuners working with CIS way before this realized that they could use EFI and then used EFI.
like-
Even a crappy EFI system.
I was going with 86 because that's when Ford had the 5.0 with like the modern EFI. Like that would be like, then you can just like swap
Porsche,
that.
BMW, EFI in 86 was enough for turbo. It was. So
God.
it's a good year to pick though. I mean, pre-86 it really wasn't as good. So
I'm going to say one of my favorite companies
Okay.
to say. Ari Amemiya. Rotary Engineering Amemiya.
okay. I was gonna say I was looking in the notes as you said it, and I'm like, it says re-MMA.
It's R-E Amemiya.
Okay.
But if you, so this is another team that came out of like the Bosozoku Kanjo era, huge in the 90s and the 2000s with rotary tuners.
Okay.
And they were known, they did like a lot of the super crazy RX-7s with like fixed headlights and everything. Like they did some wild body kits. But my favorite car by them is their Mazda Shantez, which is a rear-wheel drive K car that they made. It's a company, the car that actually made the company is a rear-wheel drive K car. They put a 12A rotary in it, made 500 horsepower, went 200 miles an hour.
In a K car.
In a K car.
Can you imagine the terror?
Balls of steel. I'm surprised that rotary had
How'd they find
enough.
a tire that took that?
I'm just surprised that they found a rotary with enough torque to carry around that man's testicles, because that would be very heavy.
Well, I'm sure that Dorito was spinning, but
But anyway, Ari
sorry,
Amemiya.
those Doritos.
Yeah. Also, they did it without a wide body kit either.
So the Arrow was pretty stockish.
Yeah, it was pretty. They rebuilt the car recently, and they put a wide body on it, like a GT style wide body. It's like the super crazy. Like,
I don't know how I would feel about a wide body K car.
It looks pretty cool. You can Google it, but you just copy pasta Ari Amemiya Mazda Shantez.
I can't spell Shantez either.
Chantez.
Yeah, if you replace your other link with those, I'd be happy to do it. But
There, I just
beyond
wrote down Shantez. You could probably just Google Ari Amemiya Shantez. But the car is super cool. It's super
I
fast.
think I'm only seeing the wide body one here.
Yeah, so
Oh, here's the old one.
yeah, it's the same car actually. He
Yeah,
just
but-
never got rid of it. I just love that he kept it forever.
Now that is a 1990s picture right there.
You should do a screen cap so people can see.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sometimes I forget.
Yeah, that's how the car looked. It was technically wide body, but yeah, that was the one. It was like one of the fastest cars in the Midnight Club.
Just the fact that that's a rear-wheel drive 12A and a K car is pretty
And
hilarious.
imagine that, like, not just keeping up, but like in times being faster than a Countach and a 930 turbo.
The sketchiest part of that entire story is 200 miles an hour on those tires.
Yeah. Like, it's a crazy
Anyone
car.
that did 200 on a 90s tire is insane.
Anybody that went 150 on a 90s tire is insane. It's much less on like a 13-inch wheel. Like, that's just doing it. So
I'm sure they were they were probably TRXs for all I know.
oh god.
Since, Japan probably measures their wheels in millimeters in that kind of car.
So I'm surprised to see what your next one is.
Yeah, it's Mugen.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you'd
Why?
I just wouldn't think that you would think of that
I'm
one.
a child of Gran Turismo,
That's true.
and one of the few tuners in there was Mugen.
Mugen.
And, it was always such a great name.
I think Spoon is a better name.
I thought about Spoon when I typed this down, and I'm like, Spoon
I
makes
put
better engines for sure.
Mugen/Spoon is what I do, but Mugen fell to the AMG syndrome, where they got. Well, I mean, Mugen was always part of Honda because Hirotoshi Honda, Soichiro Honda's son, ran Mugen. He's the guy that retuned the timing on a Harley Davidson because he thought it was
broken.
He thought it was broken. Yeah, that guy.
It is broken. Yeah. Thank you.
You are correct.
Oh,
But Mugen's a really cool company. They made 3 of my top 5 favorite wheels in the world. The
And
CF48, the M7, and the MR5.
It was a Wise Guys meet not long ago, and there was it was a CRX, the first gen CRX, but it had weird Mugen wheels on it.
Those are CF48s.
Wheels, I stopped, turned around, and went back to that car to look.
That's
at that
Alex
thing.
Nelson's actually.
Really?
Not the Alex Nelson from the other podcast, but Alex Nelson, that other totally weird kid.
Are you
That's
talking Edina Alex Nelson or Stance Alex Nelson?
Not either of them. It's a different Alex Nelson, I think.
Oh Jesus!
It's a third Alex Nelson.
Ah,
But he's doing a full Mugen build on that car.
that car was cool. That was
It's
by
a
far
very,
my
very
favorite thing
cool
at the
car.
show. That wasn't my car.
He's actually, if you looked at the tires were cooler than the wheels because he had Yokohama. He had JDM imported Yokohama HFs.
I remember the tires terrified me, but beyond that, I didn't pay attention.
They were JDM Yokohama HFs, were the only set in the country, and he imported them for that car because they were That's a tire that's made for classic Japanese cars like that.
Okay.
So you got like a 185, 60, 14, like a garbage tire size. But they did their original tread design from the 1980s, and they put a modern tire compound on it.
Yeah, it's like what Avon does for all the old.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like that, but for classic Japanese
I
cars.
really like that. If the
Yeah.
tire coming back to TRX for the 5th time this episode, if a company made new our compound TRX, 100%, I'm down.
It's just the fact that it's just
No, because right now, if you buy a TRX, it is literally a 1993 Michelin that they just made you today.
Yeah.
It's just as crap as it ever was, but
was shit, has been shit, always will be shit.
is still shit.
Let me go with my other favorite Honda company. Feels Honda Twin Cam.
Feels.
Feels, right? In
God,
Feels.
that's like Tom's.
Yeah.
Feels.
Tom's is a great one. I don't
Tom's.
see that one up there. Anything where it's I don't know why Japanese companies just put an apostrophe on a name.
I forgot Tommy Kaira.
Tamikara, yeah, it's a great one.
Oh,
they did that
shoot.
great. Well, I'll steal that one from you.
right.
Tamikara, the R31 that they made.
Yeah.
It's a great car.
I just love how over the
R32.
top that crap was.
Oh, it's amazing.
Who's that cartoon by? You'll know.
Yeah,
Don't you worry. You'll know. I'm like, it's written down the entire side of the car.
it's pretty great. But
I just imagine one of their clients wanting a stealth tune package and leave.
can't do
We
that.
don't do stealth.
We don't do stealth tunes. Even in the 80s. So, before they made, the R32 that you know, the
Yeah.
R31s and the R30s that they, got started with, they made, I think it's called the M31, which is an R31, but it was a RB20, I think. And I think it made, something
Cool.
250 horsepower non-turbo.
Oh, wow, that must have revved to the moon.
Yeah, it's they were really good at doing
Everyone
non-turbo tuning.
Hates the RB20. I think it's cool. People hate it, not because it doesn't make power, because it does, but because it sounds different than the RB25 and 26.
Because it looks cooler. It's it's 2 liters. It's got the world's coolest valve cover. I love the RB20.
I'm just like, what the hell?
If the
What?
RB20 was a non-interference engine, like correct engines are,
Yeah, well.
I would totally be into it.
I'm into it just because people hate it.
I would totally recommend that you get one. I think
Well,
the RB20
maybe I'll put that in my 36 then.
I think actually that'd be very cool on your E36.
I wonder if Aaron sold his RB20.
He put a window in it.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
You don't want that one.
No, well, no, but
You can see the rotating assembly, what's left of it.
neat. They're probably cheap dropouts if even he wanted to get rid of it. So anyway, my next one, we've already talked about this in wheel capacity, but not in
Yes.
performance capacity. Campagnolo
Yeah, Campagnolo. Yeah, just
They-
like that factory Mazda wheel.
did a lot of rough cast magnesium wheels, which were super cool, and they also did a lot of speed parts for especially Italian stuff, but not just them. This was a pretty brand agnostic tuner back in the 70s and 80s, and the name is rad.
Yes, it is. I just want to make sure the recorder was still working.
Yeah.
I'm
Seems
gonna.
fine.
As I already said, Koenig specials. I'm gonna go with my last one here. Garage work.
Work, not works.
No, just garage work.
Okay.
Click on that link and look what that man did to that car. He took a circle cut drill, and he cut
A hole saw?
a hole saw. He cut this EG down to being 1,600 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like 1,690.
Jesus.
So it's like 1,700 pounds, or yeah, 1,700 pounds.
Are there photos of that?
Yes. I believe this is the link where you can see the photos of the inside of the car, where he's like cut holes in there. There we go.
Wow.
Custom made trailing arms out of aluminum.
Wow. Oh, wow.
This
That's-
guy, stock B16, and he drilled holes in the
That's
drum.
stock 190E pre-vented did that.
Really?
Yeah, from the
that's super
factory.
cool.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you see the inside, like he even went through his pedals and hole cut the pedal like assemblies.
Now that's an obsession.
Yeah, this guy is like the king of weight reduction. So at Garage Work,
I want to know what his diet is.
probably a lot of tofu, but he cut a lap time at there we go. That's an inside. He cut a lap time at Tsukuba of 58 seconds, non-turbo, front-wheel drive Civic without crazy aero.
Oh,
But look at that pedal.
look at that brake pedal. That's the clutch pedal. Okay.
Yeah, that's the clutch pedal. But I mean, like, he literally cut every piece of weight out of that he could. No dashboard, no anything. Literally the bare minimum for that car to be functional.
Did he weigh all of the like slugs that he
Yes.
took out?
Yeah.
I wonder what that weighed.
He cut out, I think from just hole cutting, he cut out like 300 pounds of hole cutting.
That must have been a lot of hole saws. Hopefully he had a sponsorship.
But he ran a 58-second lap time, which is like a few years ago was actually the lap record at Tsukuba.
Oh, like full stop.
Full stop was the lap record from like under Suzuki. And he did this to the front wheel drive car without crazy aero. Like that's like totally like an amount of aero that you could actually drive with.
Dude, every time I've driven a car that's been lightened,
It's really
it's so much better.
yeah,
Like,
literally.
I wouldn't want to daily drive it because, truth be told, they suck to live with. But, like, for a lap of a track, you're like, wow, that's a stock engine?
Yeah, like
nuts.
with Jan's Accord, I'm kind of thinking about keeping that and just putting a B series in it because I have a B series. I have a car. It needs an engine, and just throw it in.
Did the F and B have the trans on the...
The same
Left side?
so whatever side. It's
You're looking at the front left side?
yes. No, right side. Passenger side.
So you should K-swap it then.
No, it's opposite of K. Left side. Yes, left side. It's been a while since I've looked into
B
it.
is left side. I know that.
It's the same as
I think the F
yeah.
is left side.
Yep. There are
H is left side.
everything except for the K. Because every car you have to cut. You have
the
to cut.
L is on the right, isn't it?
That's after the K though. Everything prior to the K was in the left side.
The L kind of came to life at the same time, didn't it? For the Fit? Or the Jazz?
It actually predates the. Yeah, it was about the same time, about 2003 or so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll call it newer Hondas on the right. Okay.
But I believe this lap time was, if you scroll up, it just said the lap time right there, 58.
58,421.
Yeah,
Oh, so close to 58,420.
I know. But 58 seconds at Tsukuba with a non-turbo front-wheel drive car with like drivable amount of aero on it.
I love that he not only has narrower wheels and tires on the back, but they're also smaller diameter.
Like literally everything you can to cut weight.
I guarantee that front wheel's only that size to fit that brake
Oh,
caliper.
you know it, yeah.
And of course, they're magnesium
The
Volks.
thing that I'm surprised, I would be shocked by is if he actually had headlights in his headlight housings.
Well, one of them's cut out for induction. The other
think
one
the other-
probably doesn't have a bulb in it.
I think the other one's just there for aero.
It's just it's a sheet of paper with like chrome foil on the front of it inside. So if
Yeah.
it gets stopped by the authorities, no, it just burned out.
Yeah, sorry. Both my headlights are burnt out.
I do like a good B series.
But anyway, that is that one takes the cake for one of my favorite car companies ever, just because the dude.
That's a great car story.
It's a great story. It's a cool company. It's a dumb name. I love it. Like, that's everything I want in life.
Jesus Christ.
So going from the world of aftermarket, I want to go to the world of collector cars.
I still have one more.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Yes. What's your last one?
Lotec. Lotec.
Yes.
Exclusively CIS turbo tuning. A lot of Volkswagen stuff, but they also did some Mercedes cars.
That's where I know them
So
from.
famous for turbo tuning the M103, and like these were famously first gen 11 911 turbo turbochargers, which were awful, just horrible things, but they made great power. Screwed them to one of the most durable inline sixes known to man.
Yeah.
And they made really good power. Most weren't even intercooled. Like, these things should have blown up, but they didn't. So, again, one of those cars at a car show, I will go to 10 times out of 10, a low-tech turbocharged car. Even a Volkswagen, I would look at a low-tech turbo.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what I want to move on to is I want to move on to the world of classic cars.
Okay.
Because at Brand Trailer, they noticed that we had an Aston Martin DB5.
Aston.
Sorry, I was in the middle of burping, so I'll elongate that A.
No, you just did it because that's how you do it.
No, I've been singing Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I was just trying not to burp into the microphone.
Our listenership is used to that.
Anyway,
there you go.
An Aston Martin DB5
Okay.
is on Brand Trailer. It's about $500,000. Now, my question is the $500,000 challenge. At a price range of about $500,000, do you buy the James Bond car? Or do you buy the Countach? The best possible Countach, 5,000 QV.
Oh, I don't know which one of those I'd
White,
rather have.
white with a red interior.
I know which one you would pick.
Literally the best possible Countach. No, trust me. This one actually threw me through a loop. Because, I always like cheaper is better.
I don't
but
like
I mean,
white on the Countach.
The Countach white with a red
It
interior?
needs to be black.
Countach looks the best in white.
I wouldn't buy either. I'd buy an M1.
That's more than that.
No, it isn't.
No, get out of here.
You can get an M1 for $500,000.
No, yeah, if I had bare chassis.
It's not going to be a great one like these are.
I'm talking.
It'll be a fine running driving car.
All right, that's fair. So you can get a perfectly reasonable M1.
I don't know if it'll be perfectly reasonable, but it will be a fine running driving car.
I'd have. I don't know what I would do. Because if I was going to get,
You'd have the Countach.
if I was, well, no, that's the thing is, if I ever wanted to get an Aston Martin, it would be the James Bond Aston Martin,
Yeah.
the DB5 in silver. If I was going to get a Countach, it would be white with a red interior. Actually, be white with a white interior, but the red interior looks just as good.
They're both amazing, terrible cars.
They are, and that's the thing is like, which amazing, terrible car do I want?
I don't know. Like they're like I'm trying to think of like the virtues and the downsides to both of them. Like they're so similar.
They're very, very similar. They're surprisingly similar vehicles. They're both a bit shit.
I think the DB5 just because it would be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, both of them would have the same effect on people. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think
Wow, that's really tough. I'm not sure if that's ever been compared before.
I can't honestly decide. I'm literally torn.
Everyone, Ryan needs $1 million to buy both.
I will buy both of them, do a review of which one is a bit more
One
shit.
year later, long-term fleet, which one is better? You're in like a medical like stationary chair with a joystick moving around like I still can't make a decision.
They're both really great. I'm very uncomfortable at all times.
The doctor said I had to be on this full body cast for 2 months.
I'm actually hedging towards the DB5 the more I'm thinking about it. Solely because if I were to get a Countach, it'd have to be white on white. It'd have to be full cocaine. And that one's got the red interior, which is better, but it isn't quite the exact one I want. So I think I'd have to go with the DB5. Because the DB5 is the exact Aston Martin I want. And if I got that Countach, I would be thrilled every day I own that until I saw a white on white one. And then I'd be very let down. So I think I'm going to have to go with the DB5.
2 Magneti Marelli mechanical fuel injection systems in one car. Oh my God. It's a miracle those things run.
Ever.
Ever.
At any point.
Just looking at that, I'm like, I've got Italian cars, I've got a strong stomach, and that's just like, are you kidding me? Somebody did that?
Yeah.
Oh.
When fuel injection's actually worse than carburation for reliability.
Oh, this would be so much better with the old carbies.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, I think, part of the reason why, like, the 1984 or whatever it is, Countach, the last year of the carbs, like, has a really strong following.
Yes, I think so. And so this is the thing, is like, yes, these were the fastest cars in the world when they came out with this. I will take a little bit slower of a vehicle.
Yep.
That is, because they're both just as likely to kill you if you try to drive it ever.
I think I'd take 30 less horsepower and have carbs.
Yeah, I think I might do that, because at least I can just take the air box off and listen to carburetors.
Yep.
So-
Yeah, you get your vacuum gauge, you feel like a real man. This one is just like, let me look through this Italian-German repair manual and then replace a bunch of rubber parts, and then it won't ever run again.
Yeah, going with the Aston Martin.
That's true. That probably has carbs. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yes, it is carb.
Perfect. DB5 wins.
Yeah, it's a DB5. It's
Because carburetor.
Because of the Magneti Marelli CIS. The worst possible fuel injection. You are right. That is the winner right there.
I'm glad I was able to do the tiebreaker for you.
I feel a lot better now.
You won't be up tonight just because.
Do you want to move the last couple of things after your last topic to the next
Yeah,
episode?
we probably should,
Yeah,
just in the
'cause
interest of...
That tuner shop thing took forever. But it
Anyway.
was also very interesting.
Let me find where I am here. Okay, another Aston Martin. Nice.
Ah, good. That's a good segue.
It is. So, since the DB5 one, God, stupid ad block bullshit, cork stuffer. Urgh. So, okay, Aston Martin.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect. They have a new vehicle. It's kind of like the Valkyrie was. It's going to be a really low production thing that they're actually going to make, but this one's called the Victor. I don't think it
I like that a
looks
bit more. I like that a lot.
particularly great, but it's very interesting.
No, it reminds me of one of my favorite Aston Martins other than the DB5, which is the Living Daylights car.
Is that the old Vantage?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
80s
rear end
Vantage.
reminds me of the 80s Vantage.
Yeah, well, the front end reminds me of the 80s Vantage. The whole thing reminds me of the 80s Vantage. This is great.
So what makes it even more
Oh,
greater,
man, look at that.
it's manual only,
This is wonderful.
V12 only, and
Yes.
this isn't the Valkyrie Cosworth V12. This is their old twin Duratec V12.
I love this.
That Cosworth has now fiddled to over 700 horsepower.
Oh, this is perfect.
Actually, no, it's over 800. They're 825 horsepower.
This is a
836.
This is a perfect vehicle.
Remember when they did the DBS and they're like, we've thrown the entire rotating assembly away to get the most we possibly can out of the V12, and it made like 530 horsepower? They're now 300 horsepower more than that with
This
the
is
same
perfect.
engine.
This is a wonderful vehicle. You know what this looks like? This looks like an 80s Vantage, but if Ari Amemiya got their hands on it.
Oh, yeah.
This is
yeah.
like an Ari Amemiya Vantage.
If
I
you
love
just
this.
smooth the rectangles into some points,
I wish it was a little bit more
this
angular.
would be an 80s car.
Yeah, I wish it was a bit more angular. But
Imagine this
I
with
love
points, an 80s racing livery.
and listening to the Living Daylights theme song by Aha.
Yeah. They should
And
do a
just
remake
being
of the
Timothy
Living
Dalton.
Daylights and put that in it.
They should. They should totally do it. Like
Timothy
even-
Dalton's still alive, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
He's in Doctor Who recently.
Nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're doing our duty. We have to mention everything we possibly can that is new and manual only.
Also, those wheels with the tits.
Those wheels are
They're
very
amazing.
excellent.
I
That is
love
something
those
that
wheels.
Campagnolo probably makes.
Probably.
Oh,
Also,
look at these leather
the
straps.
brown leather interior. Now that is something instant
Not just
win.
brown. British Racing green leather on the
Yes,
backside.
that is true. I think the green is great. I think green and brown leather interiors make cars better. I've never seen a car that's had a green or a brown leather interior
This has
be
both.
made worse. And this is wonderful.
This has dark green leather and brown interior leather all together.
I
mean, there's
generally,
carbon in there, but
I really tremendously can't care enough about, or at all, anything at all about Aston Martin, and I care a lot about this car.
the GMA T whatever 50 is still probably my favorite car of 2020. But like this is
my winner.
this is the gentleman's
This is my car
manual
of the year.
vehicle.
This is totally my car of the year. 100%. I love
Oh,
this.
look how it just looks like it wants to do a good job.
I love this car so much. I cannot possibly love this car enough. I love the taillights. It's got the Valkyrie taillights.
Oh, it's a one-off? No, I thought they were making this. Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's still my car of the year.
All right.
Yep.
A car you can't buy.
It's wonderful in every way.
God, it's like a modern XJ220, but better.
It's really just
It's
everything.
an XJ220 and a Vantage, first-gen Vantage, mixed together in a big jug.
Yeah, and it just looks great.
And then
with like a
Cosworth.
a GTR roofline.
And probably one of the best NA engines ever made.
Yeah, I'd put that up there.
It's a Duratec.
love
They got
that.
836 horsepower out of a Duratec.
It's absolutely tremendous. I'm a big fan. 10 out of 10. Great job, Aston Martin. Now,
Awesome
make
car.
Make it a production vehicle.
And they gave it a man's name, a Victor.
A Victor, yes.
Victor's
like
out
that.
there to do a good job.
I love that. That car should. That really should be.
Put it into production.
That needs to be a super low production vehicle. Yeah. Like,
But you know what? I bet that's going to be a hint of the new design language they're going with. So
I'm
maybe
okay
the new
with
Vantage.
that. I'm very okay with that.
Considering
Also,
right now, yeah.
Not gonna lie, I've seen a couple of Vantages, and I really, really, really like them. I think Aston Martin would be the only like supercar manufacturer that I care about right now. Even though I can't care about them, they're the only one I care about.
The I'm inclined to agree with you because I'm like they're using AMG V8s now, which are good, and they've bolted a manual to it, which is something Mercedes hasn't even figured
Yeah.
out.
Well, I think more importantly, if you look at them, like
Yeah.
they are not photogenic. The photos do not.
Right.
They are so small. They're the size of a BRZ.
That's yeah.
And that's what I love about it. It's a V8 and a car size of a BRZ, and it's a really good look.
I've never seen that company do an acquired taste design before, and I think they have the know-how to do it. Because like remember in 08 or whatever when the new Vantage design came out,
Yeah.
we saw spy shots and everyone was crossing their legs. Already a great looking car.
Yeah.
But I think the new Vantage, although it's going to be a little more polarizing and probably shorter lived, I think it will have a steeper curve on its parabola for what people like about it.
Yeah, I think people are either gonna like it or love it, or absolutely just want to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Like there's not gonna be
First-gen
anybody that's
Vantage.
like- whereas like the thing is with like the 2008 or so ones, like they look good.
They're
cool.
great looking cars, but like they're not that out there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like a Chris Bengal risk.
It's one of those things where it's not one of those cars where I'm in love with it. It's
Right.
one of those things where it's like that's cool.
It's a nice car.
Like it's a good looking car. Like that's cool.
Like
But,
you could get this or a Vantage. Oh,
I think like with Aston Martin, the only thing I can like, the closest I can do to actually caring about them is say, when they make a car I like, I don't just like it, I'm like tremendously head over heels in love with it.
Yeah.
Because they've done that with the,
And they may as well do that with all the volume they do.
well, they did the DB5, they did the 80s Vantage, the Victor, and the Valkyrie. So the four Aston Martins I really like. And I kind of like the DB2 because it's just a bit shit. Like,
It's maybe a bit more than a bit shit,
but the four that I legitimately like, I really, really, really like, and like I will defend those cars to the death, being cool cars. And it's not like one of those things where it's like, it's not like a car that's like just an exciting car that you see. Like you see like a McLaren Senna, you're like, that's an exciting car. It's cool. It's a McLaren Senna. It's the only McLaren that matters, or like a Speedtail.
still an auto.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like, but I mean, like if somebody says something like rude about it, you go, okay, I understand.
I don't think Senna would say nice things about it.
No, but I think if somebody ever said anything rude about the DB5, the 80s Vantage,
Everyone will burn
the
them at
Victor,
the stake.
or the Valkyrie, I will get a knife and defend that car.
Insulting a DB5 is like punching a bald eagle. You just don't do it.
No, you absolutely don't. You can and you shouldn't. And
The bald eagle is kind of a shit bird. The DB5 is kind of a shit car, but that doesn't matter.
yeah, it's when people say that the E-Type is better than the DB5, I just respond with, I understand what it is to be poor, but you're wrong. You're just a poor person. You're a poor person that is just salty
My
about
tastes are better than yours because I can only afford aspirationally this level of dreams.
it. Like that's the thing. I understand being aspirational, but there's a point where it's like, hey, if the Palace of Versailles isn't your thing, you still appreciate the Palace of Versailles for being the Palace
And your
of
house
Versailles.
isn't better than the palaces of Versailles because you've afforded your house.
Yeah, like you might like your house more because you own it, but it doesn't mean it's better. The DB5 is like the Palace of Versailles of cars. It is objectively better. Like, does it have toilets? No. Does it have power? Not originally. Does it have a room full of mirrors that blind you in the morning? Yes. But is it better than your house objectively? Also yes. Like, that's what the DB5 is. I think that should be our top tip that we should end on.
Yeah, I'm going to say the DB5 is one of the few national treasures of the UK. So
Yes, it is. It's one of the greatest vehicles. I think, actually, before we end, when humanity is dead and gone, I think if we had 5 things to represent all of humanity, I would go with the Pyramids of Giza, the, what's the big red temple in China? Or not temple, Forbidden City. The palace, the Forbidden City, the Pyramids of Giza.
Is that the thing where the terracotta warriors are?
No, that was the first Chinese emperor's tomb.
Okay.
Forbidden City is where the Chinese emperor reigned from.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would do like Michelangelo's David, and then the DB5, and I'm pretty sure just their written works of Sir Isaac Newton. That is what I would do for the representation of the greatness of humanity, is the DB5 would be up there with the Forbidden City and Sir Isaac Newton.
Wow.
That's how much I love that car.
Countach, that could have been you had you had carburetors.
Yes, it could have been. On that
note, we'll see you next week.
See ya.